Yo, hey everybody! Welcome to the Sully Squad. We got a lot to get into tonight. NFL free agency started a week from today, and the Philadelphia Eagles have made all kinds of moves. Starting with what do we get? We got a pass rusher, a running back. We touched on Saquon Barkley last week.
DJ.
Yeah, CJ Gardner-Johnson back. Even traded for a backup quarterback. So we're going to get into a lot of Eagles talk. We got the NCAA Tournament, March Madness starting this week. So we could get into some of that. Unfortunately, we got a basketball team in this town that's, without Joel Embiid, it's almost like the process. It's basically the process 2.0. I mean, this team really sucks without Embiid. So I don't even know if I want to waste my energy talking about them. And then we got the Flyers with a tough stretch right here. I mean, Flyers right now sitting 3 points up in the playoffs, but they got the Caps and the Islanders closing quick, and Flyers got a lot of tough games coming up. So, and of course, we got the Philadelphia Phillies starting in, let's say 2 weeks from – no, actually – Phillies 24th. Are starting in like 11 days, actually.
Yeah, 28th. Wheeler's going to be the starter.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So
yeah,
got a lot to get into. I got my usual cast here. I got my man Sean Kilrain right next to me. What's up, Sean? How you doing?
What's up, guys? Chilling, man.
Yeah, and then
looking forward to talking about football.
Yeah, and then I got Mr. 6 for 6, Diego the Hammer Bianchi. First off, Diego, I see the Union are back, and I notice you had a nice article about the Union. So any Union fans out there, make sure you give my man Diego a read.
Yeah, check it out, everybody. Union having a little bit of a rough start to the season with 3 ties in a row. So we'll see if they can get the tires kicking over there. And I'm just glad to be back talking some sports. How you guys doing?
Chilling.
Doing pretty good, man. It was a good St. Patrick's Day weekend. It was really nice. I had my son over at I had my son to Tyler State Park on Saturday and yesterday. So we were he was doing some rock climbing, and we were walking around, and had some smoked butt and cabbage yesterday. Typical Sullivan Irish meal, right? So it's really good weekend, and excited to talk some sports. Excited to talk some Eagles, to be honest with you, because like I said, we could get into some Sixers and some Flyers later, but I'd rather start with the good news, because in my opinion, I think Howie Roseman is absolutely slaying free agency. I love what the Eagles have done. First off, we touched on it last week. Saquon Barkley, I'm not worried about the money. If you look at the cap hit, it's really not much of a cap hit, and the guy, playing behind our offensive line with our weapons, I think Saquon, if he stays healthy, and that's a big if, obviously, knowing Saquon, but I think Saquon's going to have a huge year. I love CJ Gardner-Johnson back, and we even signed a linebacker. So, but anyway, let me get your guys' perspective. Sean, I'll start with you. What's your perspective on the Eagles' move so far?
Pretty good, pretty solid. I was listening to Ray Dittinger and Glenn Macnow, and Dittinger said he compares Bryce Huff to Jason Babin. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh,
yeah.
I said Ray Dittinger's talking a little bit of shit over there.
The man knows what he's talking, but when he said that name, I kind of cringed. But I'm pretty excited for the Saquon Barkley, deal with behind that offensive line. CJ Gardner-Johnson, same thing. We just lost 2 guys to free agency. Opeta to the Buccaneers on a 1-year deal. Driscoll to the Miami Dolphins, But I think we're still not done, So I'm looking forward to it. What are your thoughts, Diego?
Yeah, I think Howie had a great great free agency so far. How could you ask a guy to do anything else? You got a star running back, address a backup quarterback position, got more depth for the defensive line. We're keeping Sweat. Got a safety. Went and signed Devin White, who I think is going to have a resurgence. He's still only 27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think he wasn't Tampa Bay wasn't the best position for the last couple of years. They weren't the best team, so sometimes you get paid, you get a little lazy, change the scenery. He could be right back to being a stud middle linebacker there. So we'll see what he
he's
does.
young too. I like him.
Yeah, he's young. He's not old.
Yeah.
So I think two seasons ago or 3 seasons ago, he had like 100 and some tackles.
Yeah,
Pro Bowl.
I believe like 125.
Yes, up there.
He's legit. And just like you said to Mike Papernick's comment, Devontae Parker, I think, is just a body here, for that wide receiver crowd. He's 31. His best days were with Miami. And you remember that game. He scorched our ass for 3 touchdowns, so.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Devin Parker, but it's not like you're asking this guy to come in and be like, even your number 2 receiver. You're asking him to come in, maybe make some plays downfield and be our 3rd wide receiver, maybe 4th.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by it because the way his contract works, the Eagles are only on the hook for like $1.25 million. And here's the thing, right? I mean, he played with New England last year. They didn't have Dick on offense.
Yeah.
They had nothing. Now, Devontae Parker comes here. If he first off, there's no guarantee he's even going to make the team because the Eagles are probably going to sign a free agent. I mean, I'm sorry, not sign a free agent. They're probably going to draft a wide receiver, right? So they're probably going to draft at least one receiver. Plus, you'll bring in some training camp bodies. I mean, there's no guarantee he's even going to make the team. But the bottom line is, Devontae Parker does have elite size, and if you think about it, if he does make the team, Parker could play out on the outside along with A.J. Brown, and maybe Devontae Smith and some obvious passing downs can line up in the slot.
Another thing, I don't think that Kenny Pickett trade was that much of a head scratcher. You bring in Kenny Pickett at a very low cost. If Jalen Hurts gets hurt for a couple games, he comes in. If he does decent, you now acquired a chip to pull it to somebody else, like A.J. Philly.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you said that. I totally agree with that. Now, listen, I made a comment on X today because everybody, and this kid was coming at me, but I just made a simple point that, Kenny Pickett has 24 National Football League starts. Pittsburgh has not had a good offensive line. Has Kenny Pickett looked good? Not necessarily, all right. But one thing he has, do you know Kenny Pickett has 7 fourth-quarter comebacks in his 24 starts? I mean, I'm not saying this kid's a world beater, but I'm also not ready to say he's a scrub. I mean, this kid was telling me, it's unequivocal that he's a bust. I'm not willing to say that, dude. And I'll give you a perfect example. Rich Gannon.
Dude, a bust for a starter doesn't mean a bust for a backup, though. He's not a starting quarterback.
Right. No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, all I'm saying is, though, right, and he's coming here to pick back up. No, I agree. But I'm saying, though, if you look at a guy, sometimes guys need to change of scenery. And again, I'm not starting a quarterback controversy. I know he's coming here to be the backup. But let's not get it twisted, okay? Howie Roseman actually scouted this kid himself going to Pittsburgh a couple years ago.
Thursday night game, Pittsburgh versus North Carolina.
Right. The Eagles like this kid, all right? Now, do I think he's coming here as a threat to Jalen Hurts' job? No, not in the slightest bit. But let's not get it twisted, though. The football team was 1-6 in the last 7. Do they bring Pickett in to be the backup and strictly the backup? Yeah, but if Hurts gets hurt, or if say Hurts gets hurt and struggles a little bit, I think they like the potential of this kid, and I think it's kind of not necessarily hedging their bet, but in a way, it's kind of hedging their bet. It's like, hey, if Jalen does if Jalen does look more like 2021 Jalen and the last 7 games Jalen, and this kid has a chance, well, hey, he comes to Philadelphia with a good offensive line, elite level weapons, and maybe you see if you have something there.
100%.
I personally, I like the move. I mean, all you really did was you moved down, I think, 22 or 23 spots. You gave up a 3rd round pick, but you picked up their 4th. And if nothing else, best case scenario, Jalen Hurts plays like he did in 2022 or the starter last year when we were 10-1, and Kenny Pickett only looks good in preseason. And like Diego, like you said, he looks good in preseason. Maybe you flip him for like a second or third in like a year.
Right.
If not, he never plays. Hurts.
Or not even that. You know, there's always that one team that's right in like playoff territory. Their quarterback gets hurt.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And then
there's
now
always
you have
that
a little
one.
trade. Now you have a little trade chip. Howie Roseman's always looking at the future of a player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, here's Michael Papernick Jr. says the Eagles gave up a third and the Steelers gave up a 6 for Fields. That is the head scratcher.
No.
Agreed, but you have to look at
$25 million price tag for Fields.
Right.
You know, so like you bring in Fields, you get him for a cheaper round pick. You pay him more money just to, as soon as Jalen Hurts struggles, you have the whole entire city going, put in Fields. That doesn't make any sense. You paid Jalen Hurts. Don't bring in the controversy. Let him have the starting job pressure-free, and let's see what he does. Why add more pressure to the team? This team was built to win with the players here.
Well, the other thing is too, like you said, the $25 million. Justin Fields, like our UPS driver, the Steelers fan said they have to decide by May whether to pick up his 5th-year option. Now, Kenny Pickett is signed here for 2. He's signed here for 2 more years at what, like a couple million a year?
Yeah. Yep.
So
$3 million?
Yeah, something like that too. Yeah. So I think he's going to make a total of like 6 or 7 million in the 2 years. Well, you would have had to pay like a Ryan Tannehill 6 million, 7 million just for this year.
Right.
So it makes a lot of sense. You got a guy that has some experience, and you bring a guy in who you believe have some upside. Like the example I was going to give was Rich Gannon. Now, Rich Gannon played in Minnesota, early 90s. He played in Washington. He played in Kansas City. There isn't a person in the league that thought Rich Gannon was going to be a future MVP candidate. And I'm not saying Kenny Pickett's going to be this. So that's not where I'm going with this. But to anybody out there that says this kid's a bust, well, Vikings fans, Redskins fans, and Chiefs fans all would have said Rich Gannon was nothing. Guess what he did? He went to Oakland, played under John Gruden, and won an MVP and took the team to the Super Bowl. So sometimes changes of scenery, different systems really make a difference in a guy. And for the cost, I feel like it's a no-brainer.
It's almost like Trent Dilfer, too. Look at that. Like if you really want to compare Trent Dilfer, Rich Gannon, all that stuff, I mean, he couldn't have come into a better situation, just like you guys said. We said the O-line, this new offense, which is going to run a lot of motion, Hurts behind center, and hopefully run the shit out of the ball with Saquon, and get the tight end more involved, which was a mirage last year, So Howie's got to do his magic, I'm hoping. It's like playing craps in the draft. I want a linebacker like I've been stressing, a cornerback, a safety, and you can get these interior O-linemen down the line, whether it's 3rd, 4th round, So let's just see what he works.
Here's Paul Spencer. I agree with Paul Spencer. You said it made sense for the Steelers to acquire Fields since Wilson cost pennies. Thanks to Broncos, OTAs equals injuries. Someone might give them more for Fields at that point for a starter.
Yeah, but I think the Steelers trade a 6th-round pick and get Fields. They're like, we might have just got our quarterback for the next 10 years. That's what kind of upside Fields comes with, I feel like. What real opportunity did he have to show all that talent he has with the Bears?
No, he didn't. And look, and what I think Pittsburgh's looking at Mike Williams. I mean, I don't know if they're going to sign him, but if and again, Mike Williams gets hurt all the time. But if Pittsburgh does sign a Mike Williams to go along with Pickens, and Pittsburgh always drafts good receivers. I mean,
yes, they do.
So
maybe they could move up.
You never know. I mean, Russ will probably be, like right now, Russ is looking like the guy, but who's to say who's to say in training camp, Rust, maybe they love they love what Fields has, and maybe Fields comes in there and wins that job. Like
I
you
don't
said,
put that much smoke into them saying, Russell Wilson's our day one starter. I think they mean by day one as beginning of training camp, not beginning of the season.
Yeah, you're going to have some good competition. That's plain and simple. The best man wins.
You don't pay Wilson enough money to have to start him.
Yeah. No, they're only paying him like $1.5 million, I think.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, like if you were paying him that the whole contract that came along with him, then you might be forced to have to at least give him that first start. But with the little price tag he has, if you get outshone, we have no commitment to you. We don't pay you shit.
Yeah,
that's true. No, I totally agree. Pat Bernard, what's up? Hey, Pat, how you doing, bro?
What's up, dog?
What's up, Pat?
But yeah, no, man, it's I agree. It's going to be interesting, and like I said, I mean, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. Who knows what they're going to do?
Here's the real question. We address free agency. Even if we don't sign another free agent, it's a good free agency for Howie Roseman, right? What's the draft?
Yeah.
What are we looking at in the draft now that we addressed X positions in free agency?
Can I tell you where I think there's a hidden loss that they just lost last week was Jack Stoll. Jack Stoll signed with the Giants. Okay. On paper, you think to yourself, oh, he's just a second tight end, a kind of a blocking tight end. Don't be surprised if the Eagles take a tight end relatively early. Like Dallas Goedert is the exact age that Zach Ertz was when we took Dallas Goedert, and he's also the age that Brent Selleck was when we took Zach Ertz. So the Eagles usually take a young tight end right around this time in their starting tight end's career.
Could the Eagles be looking at packaging? Could the Eagles be looking to move up if Brock Bowers is falling, and they go, "Well, we got to move up 5 picks right here from 22 to 17 or whatever it is"? Do you do it?
I would. I'll tell you what. I would. I know tight ends not a big need, not a need, quote unquote. I know they probably are going to go offensive line. I get it, but let me tell you something. If you're sitting there and you think Brock Bowers is like a Travis Kelce type of weapon, I'm not saying Travis Kelce, but you know what I mean, like a game-breaking type weapon.
Yeah.
My God, imagine if you added that to this offense.
Yeah.
The one thing about Dallas Goedert's a good player. Dallas Goedert's gotten hurt for multiple weeks the last 2 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think you really could use
it. Dude, tight end's a rough position to play. You got to block it at the line of scrimmage in the run game, in the pass game. Sometimes you got to get out there and line up and get hit low on your knees. It's a tough position to play.
Yeah. Hey, Sean, this comment's for you. Pat has a nice fresh pink polo for Easter, just for you.
It's about time you get coordinated colors with the holiday. Like yesterday, we all know Pat was wearing his green. Not.
Yeah, I know, it was funny. I checked out Pat's show yesterday, and everybody had green on, but he had like blue with white stripes. I was like, dude, where's your green, bro?
Yeah.
Paul Spencer with another comment. He says, sucks since trading Fields, they brought in the weapons in Chicago and can still get a roam at 9 or a blindside left tackle. Yeah, Chicago. I'll tell you what, if Caleb Williams can play, Chicago's a team on the come.
Oh yeah. With Keenan Allen.
I don't think Brock Bowers, back to your point, I think I could see him more likely going to like the Bengals and or Jacksonville. For me, I think we should move up, like Diego was saying, probably with the Rams and get that Quinyon Mitchell cornerback from Toledo. The kid can play.
Hey, they could do that. I mean, if you look at this draft, they could go edge rusher. They could go D. They could even go D tackle / D end in a 3-4, which is kind of like a D tackle. Like I
say first round offensive line.
I think in all likelihood it's an offensive lineman. I think if you're looking at possibilities, it's probably if I say that the highest odds is O-line, then probably edge, then probably corner, and then maybe
throw back burner linebacker in the back because they don't do anything.
I I would say if they release the odds today, the favorite for our first round pick would definitely be an offensive lineman. That's like a cornerstone Howie pick right there. Invest in the offensive line. No one can ever get mad at that pick.
Yeah, here's Paul Spencer says, Bowers is a generational tight end. He can play inside and outside multiple sets. His injury might drop him a little. Worth a move up 5-6 spots for Birds, but I see Bowers, Seattle, or Chargers. I don't think the Chargers are going to – I think the Chargers have the 5th pick. I don't think the Chargers are taking him at 5.
No, yeah. Most mock drafts have him going somewhere in the teens, high teens.
Yeah, so like –
They got him going to the Colts, the Bengals, and the Jags.
Right. And Sean, if he lasts to the Bengals or the Colts or the Jags, that's prime position for us to trade up. I mean, the Bengals
absolutely.
The Bengals are picking 18. So if you think Brock Bowers is a generational talent, screw the. I mean, I know the Eagles always invest in the trenches, but in that case, you may want to add that generational talent.
True. If anything, if we don't get Bowers, there's guys like Kate Stover from Ohio State, 6'4", 235. Gervonta Sanders from Texas. All these guys are big bodies, can stretch the field. If we were to complement a tight end to back up Goddard.
Yeah, listen, I agree in general with Steve Greenjack's comment right here. He says first round is too early to go tight end. Listen, for us, and I agree with them. I mean, and in all likelihood, I don't think any of us think they are going to get Brock Bowers, but we're just putting it out there. I know you want to go O-line or corner, but if you're sitting there and you have Brock Bowers like as the number 1 player on your draft board, and you can move up like 4 or 5 spots, and you think to yourself, because this draft is deep in O-line. You could get a good offensive lineman in the 2nd round that in other years would have gone late first. So you know what I mean? So if you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, oh, holy shit, man, this guy could be another Gronk or another Travis Kelce. You know what? We don't really need it, but my God, imagine we had this talent. Then you got to consider it, I think.
We just made that offense more potent.
And then it kind of opens up your availability at trading Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they would. I mean, I think it's more likely you probably would just go into the year, maybe you run some maybe all right. So say you did get the tight end, maybe instead of maybe you don't run as many 3 receiver sets, maybe you run a little bit more 2 tight end sets.
Right.
Yeah, and the other thing is if you did do that. And I don't want to waste too. I mean, it's probably like a less than 1% chance it's going to happen. So we're wasting our energy here. But just hypothetically, if you did have that kid as a weapon, imagine the red zone with Bowers, Goddard, AJ Brown, and then you'd have Smith, and then you have Saquon in the backfield along with Jalen.
With Jalen Hurts,
you're scoring touchdowns at least 90%, 85-90% of the time.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Red zone.
And also, before we answer this question, we got that guy, Albert O. I would like to see him get on the field. He's young, big body, but that remains to be seen. The guy we acquired from Denver.
Yeah, the only thing that makes me nervous about him is what the hell? Why didn't he see the field last year? Like when Goddard was out, I guess they like him because they brought him back, but
that's what I'm saying.
You would have thought he would have gotten more of a chance last year. You know what I mean?
Right.
True. But maybe you didn't understand the playbook. Who knows? Like you said, Joey.
Yeah, well, get your ass and get your study on, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get a tutor for that, John, or something. You know what I mean? Steve Greenjack says, I personally would rather not give up picks because I think we need to continue to the youth movement with losing Kelsey, Cox, BG done soon, Lane possibly done, Slay and Barry getting older. Nailing picks is more important right now.
That's true.
Can't argue that. I mean,
that's why I think the first pick is an offensive lineman. Because you want to try to nail something for a long period of time, and usually it's harder to miss on linemen than I feel like anything else.
Yeah.
And that's their MO is edge rusher or O lineman. You know, it's very rare that they draft that top-notch cornerback, linebacker. But
But I think with drafting Nolan Smith last year, bringing Sweat back, adding Huff, and if you keep us on Reddick, I don't think there's really a need to draft another line guy.
No, not early. I don't. I think.
So, I think
Yeah,
we're pretty
oh,
much penciled in
absolutely.
for an offensive lineman here, guys.
I think so too. And like, I'll tell you, the guy that wouldn't shock me if he's there is the kid from Oklahoma. I think his
Tyler
name's
Guyton. Tyler Guyton.
Yeah,
6'6", 340.
Yeah, because you could bring him in. You could bring him in, have him compete at the right guard spot right away, and then supposedly he's a great athlete. So maybe he comes in, competes
He
at
played
right
basketball.
guard. Yeah, he competes at right guard. And then plays right guard for a year or two, and then if when Lane's done, then if he's ready, you move him out to right tackle, and he's like your parent,
There's a lot of guys out there. I like the kid from Yale. I'm not going to butcher his name. It's pretty long. He's big body. Stoutland, you would love him. The guys from South Dakota State, they're great. The one guy, Greenfield, had a 38.5 vertical inch leap for a white dude. So he can jump. But all in all, like you said, the offensive line is deep and rich. So
it's stacked.
And plus you got Stoutland going to the draft combine. So he knows what player he wants, or he's going to say, this is what we got to do to make this O-line better. Like, now you got to get somebody for the tackle backup spot, but I'm not sweating that. They know what they're doing.
I think it's offensive line the first round, cornerback the next pick.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you something. If the top-notch linebackers are there, you got Trotter, Wilson, Edgerrin Cooper, Peyton Wilson, Trotter. Are you going corner, or are you getting these sure shot linebackers that that can start? There's no Kobe Dean, Diego. I mean, a guy that that they're bringing in for an interview to start.
Well, we got 2 second-round picks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 50 and
so
53.
whenever our first second-round pick comes up, I'd probably draft the best available corner or linebacker, whoever's higher on your draft board, and then take vice versa on the next pick. So no matter what, I'm coming out the second round with an offensive lineman, a cornerback, and a linebacker. That would be that would be where I put my focus in. And maybe if a safety that you loved slipped there instead of a corner, because I don't think Reed Blankenship's that good.
Well, speaking of safety, as time goes on here, Justin Simmons is still sitting there.
Yeah, but what are you going to give him? What does he want? He's 31, Joe, and do you want to give him that money, or is he going to say, shit, Fangio's here, I played for him, I'll take that pay cut or whatever it is. I would love him here, but
I don't think he's taking a pay cut if he says 31.
Yeah.
He's got to get top dollar.
He wants that bread. And it does sound nice, but
Jazz Cruz likes Diego. He likes your plan, and I think your plan makes a lot of sense, Diego. I mean, that's probably what they're going to do. O-line, corner. But getting back. Oh, and here, hang. I got another one here. Jazz Cruz says O-line, linebacker, corner. Yeah,
I'm cool with that. In any order, I'm really cool with that with our first 3 picks, because I feel like you really are good with that. You address the minimum holes that you left, that you didn't address in free agency.
Yeah, and I could see this too. Like I said, like with like Diego, we were talking about the edge with like Hassan Reddick, Huff, but get into Steve Greenjack's point here with going to the 34. He said we don't have anything really behind Carter, Davis, and Milton Williams, and there's almost nothing in free agency, especially with switching to 3-4. So, there's a kid from Sean. I forget his name. There's a kid from Texas that's like a D tackle that like really
Devontae Sweat.
Okay,
Devontae Sweat.
All right, imagine a kid. Hypothetically, imagine a kid like that is sitting there at 22, and you add him, and then next thing you know, you got Jordan Davis at the nose, Carter, and you got a game breaker like him right there, and then And then you have Milton Williams. Milton Williams is your top reserve, rotating on the three guys. You know what I mean?
You're forgetting one guy that we drafted last year from Texas, Ajomo. That's
Yeah,
another body. He's
And who's
good.
who's this guy we got from Detroit too? Akora?
That's another thing.
yeah, he's an out. He's like an outside linebacker, though.
Yeah.
He's an outside linebacker. I'm not talking about him, but I'm saying for the line in depth, why I don't think we go an outside rusher. If we do go D-line, it's definitely an inside guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an inside guy, though.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, I think at some point in this draft, it may not necessarily be early. Like, it may not be 22 or 50 or whatever. But like at some point in this draft, I think they do add a guy that's got a little bit of size to him. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That kid does.
Yeah, because you know, Fletcher Cox played a lot of snaps last year. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to replace some of those snaps, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Steve Greenjack says, I like Ojamu. He would be a DN in our scheme. Most likely he's only like 290 something. Yeah. That's fine. Like I said, I'm excited about switching to the 34. I mean, I'm
excited to see Milton Williams get some more time.
Yeah, he's been that guy in the back of the room. You know what I mean? Waiting to get his chance, and you've seen it last season. But now he's going to finally get a chance. Right. You know what I'm saying? Which is good and nice. But back to your safety question, Diego. There's a lot of safeties, man. I like. Guy Tyler Newbin from Minnesota, Bo Brady from Washington State. There's a kid from Utah, kid from Georgia, Lassiter. I like the Kareem Kitchens from Miami, and the Ballard guy. There's a guy from USC, and in the comments, he fits Vic Fangio's system. He's got the height, he's got the weight, and all these boys like to hit. So.
Yeah.
You know. Good. Hopefully we can get one of them.
I thought it was interesting. I mean, maybe I shouldn't read too much into this, but did you know, like, when they announced CJ Gardner-Johnson coming back, they announced cornerback / safety. Like, you know, so or are they leaving it open where maybe say you do sign a Justin Simmons and you draft a guy, and don't forget you still got Sidney Brown too. I mean, I don't know. He might be kind of screwed for most of this year, but you did invest a high pick in him, so you're going to want to try to have him compete for some sort of a spot.
That's a full-blown torn ACL, so
yeah. I mean, Sidney Jones going to compete for one spot, a fucking special team spot.
Yeah, but they did invest a third-round pick in him, though. I'm not talking about this. I
got you, but sometimes you invest a pick and you see coaches know, and you're like, all right, he's not the guy that's going to take that place. To me, he seems like a good special teams guy when I watch him play. There's nothing like where I think Sidney Brown's going to be an impact player. Kind of like Nakobe Dean. The same way I feel like Nakobe Dean. The little time he has played hasn't showed shit.
Yeah, that's my hope. I'm hoping that they have your way of thinking with Nakobe Dean. Where basically, hey, you know, we took you 2 years ago. We'll give you a chance to compete, but we ain't giving you this job. Like, you're gonna have to earn this job.
100%. Not a fee in special teams. You know, if you wasted a third-round pick on a great special teams player, so be it.
Yeah, I mean, this job is not given to him. I mean, he's gonna have to go out and show out. You know, so
now you bring a guy like Devin White in, though. Devin White's a leader. And he knows how. I would say he knows how to be the quarterback of a defense. I would say that could really help a guy like Nakobe Dean. Yeah, just go out and play. Don't worry about being a captain. Don't worry about trying to call out plays. Just go out and play. Devin White, take care of the rest of the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
Nah, I mean, I totally agree with that Diego's comment. You know what I'm saying? So, but go ahead, take this comment.
No, I was saying Steve Greenjack says he thinks a little more highly of Sidney Brown than you do, Diego. He says, I would like to see a sign of safety to hold us down until Sidney Brown comes back. Really like that kid. Then your 4 safeties are blank. CJ, GJ, Brown, and free agent. Brown also plays in the slot in the box because of his tackling ability. I remember the Seattle game. He was in the slot a lot and playing well for when we run 3 safety packages.
Well, you can do that with CJ. That's what makes it great. You know, you can throw three safeties back there and actually try to manipulate the other offense on what you have out there.
And him and Blankenship play very well together. If you don't remember,
Well, because all right, they tried to fill in CJ's job with Reed Blankenship. When Reed Blankenship isn't CJ Gardner-Johnson. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't cover as much space. He can't cover the slot receiver. So I think they tried to do something with him that he wasn't ready to do. You put CJ back at doing that, and like I just said about the Kobe Dean with Devin White, you can now let Reed Blankenship do what he's good at. Ball hawking the ball. You know what I'm saying? Playing double coverage over somebody with like. Now he can just play a smaller role. CJ will pick up all the extra shit that we were trying to do with Reed Blankenship last year. How many times last year we see Reed Blankenship lined up with a wide receiver? Get burnt over and over and over again. Why is he lined up against a wide receiver?
Mismatch.
Team. You know what it is? Reed Blankenship looked great in 2022 in a limited role, and you know. And he looked great. I mean, even the 49ers championship game, he made a couple nice tackles.
Yeah.
The Green Bay game, he looked really good. Picked off Aaron Rodgers. But, guys like Reed Blankenship, though, the longer he's out on that field, the more teams find a way to exploit his weaknesses. And that's what happened last year.
100%. 100%. You don't I feel like in the NFL you don't miss that much. You know what I'm saying? So like when a player goes undrafted, they go undrafted for a reason. Maybe they do one thing good, but they do something else not good at all. And there's a reason that they're undrafted. Reed Blankenship, if in his career becomes a solid third safety, that's a great successful career for an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, for every James Harrison or like a Kurt Warner or a Tony Romo or whatever, there's hundreds of guys that are just, journeymen or fill-in. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, just how many NFL starters, like long-term, do you think you get undrafted per year? 2?
Yeah. I mean, if you're lucky. You know what's ironic, though? Remember the Eagles? The Eagles actually had a stretch where they had a good amount. Remember the Eagles had what was it? Quentin Michael, I think, was undrafted. I think
Quentin Michael, Michael Lewis.
No, Michael Lewis was drafted. You're thinking of probably Rod. Didn't we have Rod Hood? Guy by the name of Rod Hood.
Yeah, Rod Hood.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Here's a comment here. Steve Greenjack. Blank is more of a box safety. He's not a ball hawk, but plays well close to the line against short passes. CJ's our ball hawk, and mentioned an interview about playing single high and Vic's scheme. And yes, Diego, I agree. He would be a great third safety. He's a borderline starter that could fill in a game or two. Yeah, I think that's and hence that's the problem that we had last year. I mean, last year basically we had no starting safeties, and it showed.
And you can kill Sean Desai last year, right? And be like, that guy sucks. He's not a defensive coordinator. He had to depend on not that good of players.
I know.
Nicholas Morrow, Cunningham, Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, Eli Ricks, undrafted, Job, undrafted, Bradbury looked like the worst player we ever seen. He didn't have much to be a good defensive coordinator with. Give that same defense to Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio is horrible with it too.
Yeah, honestly, I can't really argue that point. And again, as bad as Sean Desai, quote unquote, was, right? I mean, really, when hindsight being 2020, making the move to Patricia was a million times worse. I mean,
right. Absolutely. You got Reddick in drop coverage. Come on.
And at that point, you already split a bad locker room. Like the defense was bad because the players were bad. Now you split bad players in half. What are you going to have? Turmoil.
You that defense up big time. Yeah.
They put everybody in the locker room against it and made them pick a side. And they put everyone against each other. That was horrible. So you give any defensive coordinator ever, the best defensive coordinators you can think of, you give them that player pool from last year, they're going to suck.
Yeah, and by the way, I mean, I know the Chiefs literally dropped the ball. That's one of the main reasons we beat them. But let's not get it twisted. The defense actually played more of a role in winning that Kansas City game than the offense did that night.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they looked okay for the first 10 games.
I mean, really, if you think about it, the defense really didn't start leaking oil totally until the Buffalo game. It was really the Buffalo game, and then San Francisco came here and whooped our ass, and then it was over.
Exactly. I was going to say, once that one team exposed us, it was a wrap. Every team just kept doing the same thing over and over and over again for the rest of the weeks. We had no answer.
We lost the brakes in that 49ers game. Exactly. We got totally exposed.
Yeah, exactly. We got exposed. Once we got exposed, it was a wrap. All right, this is how you beat the Eagles. And it was a very easy formula to beat the Eagles.
It was repeat and repeat. It was the same stuff. It was vanilla.
We signed Shaq Leonard.
Never changed anything. Yeah.
We signed Shaq Leonard. We thought we just signed the savior. We were like, we got Shaq Leonard. The middle of our defense might have been fixed. Dude barely seen the field.
There was a reason that Shaq Leonard was like totally just a name. I mean, we saw the name of Shaq Leonard. We were thinking we were getting the Colt Shaq Leonard. Meanwhile,
you weren't getting that guy that was intercepting the ball, tackling machine. It's a shame, but
Shaq Leonard was almost like when the Flyers used to get like the guy that was done. Like, remember back in the day, the Flyers got like what was it, Dale Howardchuk when he was like in his last year? Or no, Howardchuk was actually decent. Adam Oates, remember the Flyers traded for Adam Oates?
Yeah.
He was done, dude. And we were getting like the Adam Oates of like 100 assists. Meanwhile, he was done. That's like Shaq Leonard,
Yeah, Shaq Leonard was toast last year.
What do you guys think of this? Steve Greenjack says, look out for Ricks possibly being our slot corner. Played a lot in the slot last year and did fairly well for undrafted. I specifically remember him strapping Tyreek a few times against Miami, and they seemed very high on him. Had a first-round grade prior to getting injured and some off-the-field issues. I could see that.
I could see that.
I could see
Rich on that.
I think it's anybody's game. Next man up mentality. You know what I mean? Who wants it more, and who's going to give you their best chance and opportunity to play on this defense? Like we said, the 3-4 is going to be exciting.
Yeah, Maurice right here, he says the coaching staff did a piss poor job after San Francisco, made 0 adjustments. Yeah.
I feel like you can't really make adjustments, though, if you don't have the players to make adjustments with. I can bring somebody up closer to the line. Yeah, I can play press coverage but then I'm just getting burnt behind me because the players suck behind them players. Everything falls into place, and you do things for a reason in the NFL. If you do one thing good, you got to try to do that one thing good. Once we were exposed, we didn't have players do other things. We sucked. No pressure at the line, no blitzes, no athleticism, no game changers.
We were so vanilla.
There was just nothing to work with last year. There's a reason how we just revamped this defense. Signed another defensive line, got a linebacker, brought CJ back, or probably draft another linebacker, probably draft another corner. There's a reason for that. Because we had shit last year. We didn't have players.
Another thing to keep in mind too, and I think Bradbury looked really done, and he could be done. But do you guys think that maybe the fact that they had no safeties helping him over the top? If you remember, Bradbury
to compliment him, absolutely.
But he probably played like a lot of zone, and he had CJ over the top. Last year he had nobody over the top, so he was just totally exposed. Like Bradbury's not exactly a speed demon.
No.
You need to give him help over the top.
You need that guy to compliment him. You know what I mean? To be his cushion, his pillow, like to back him up. And like you said, we had nothing. Not one damn thing.
I think the majority of Bradbury's success the year before last year was because our defensive line got so much pressure and because we had a good safety over top of him. You know what I mean? If you do that again, I think Bradbury can get back to playing all right. But if he's going to be out on an island against other teams' number one wide receiver, he ain't that. We learned that last year. That's why I feel like people got to put a little bit of respect on Darius Slay's name. You put Darius Slay up against any wide receiver in this league on an island, he holds his own.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb killed us when he lined up in the slot, but when they put Slay on him, he didn't do as well.
No, Darius Slay is a legit one-on-one cover guy. He's a legit guy like that. Put him on an island, he can play. Yeah, he's going to get beat some games. The best get beat, but he's a really good cornerback because you watch what happens to Bradbury when he's by himself. You throw to him every. What did Seattle do to him? They threw at Bradbury for the last 2 drives and all of overtime. Every single fucking play.
Yeah, and the worst part, that was Drew Lock that was doing that. You know what I mean? It wasn't like Pat Mahomes was out there driving the ball. That was
100%. You ain't
92 yards.
doing that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
100%.
Yeah,
it was just go with Bradbury and you'll be all right.
Yeah, Eddie Prather with a comment here. He says, if the Eagles could have a redo, who should they have taken in the first round? Well, I still would. I'm still high on Jalen Carter. I don't know. Maybe he's talking about the Nolan Smith pick. I mean, you know what? Maybe instead.
I would. They should have took Brian Branch.
That's what I was about to say.
Instead of Nolan Smith.
That's what I was about to say, Brian.
That's where they fucked up. How he fucked that up?
You don't say. Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, that's why you're going to get an offensive lineman this year.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, and really, I mean, I thought this a couple years ago, but how much Kyle Hamilton? I mean,
dude, how about that?
Jordan Davis.
Me and my buddy Maurice said
Kyle
that.
Hamilton
Imagine if he was here.
Game changer.
Damn right. Like he locked up on any receiver he had, tight end, wide out. He shut him down, man. You're right.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. All right, well, look, we pretty much established that right so far in free agency they're killing it. Hopefully, I personally would love to see a guy like a Justin Simmons in here, but we'll see what happens there. Steve Greenjack says if Davis gets in shape, he will have a Hamilton-like impact. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, at this point, I would just settle for Jordan Davis just being in shape and not wearing down after like week 10. If he could do
that, needs to stay away from McDonald's and take the game seriously. He went from up to bam, smashing down. I mean, there's a lot of potential, but he's got to want it, and he's a big boy. Shit.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him because remember that. I mean, I
chased Josh Allen out of bounds. Remember that? And I'm like, yeah, okay.
I was all about to say that. Yeah, that play against the Bills where his big ass was running him out of bounds. He dove for him, and I was like, oh man, boy, Jordan Davis is hustling his balls off, and then boom, it was like his play literally went off a cliff right after that moment.
Or it could have been like the cartoon guys. Allen was like a chicken or a Big Mac going after him.
Yeah, Jordan Davis, kid still got baby fat on him. He's only 23. If someone gets him to lock in, he's taking over.
I agree. I agree. I think it's I think it's a matter of getting him to take it seriously.
Yeah.
Which that usually comes with age. You start to take life more serious with age. So I think him and Carter, they're young. I think they'll be all right. I think that has to be the future of our interior line.
Maybe look at it like this: Jordan Davis and Carter both have really never ever been part of a losing program, right? Jordan Davis comes to the Eagles in his rookie year. They immediately go to the Super Bowl. Now, he didn't play that huge of a role, but they did go to the Super Bowl. Then they're 10-1 in his second year. All of a sudden, he's never experienced adversity. And then they go, 1-6 in the last 7 weeks?
Yeah.
This might be the first time in this kid's life that he's faced adversity. And maybe, just maybe, this offseason. And the other thing is, too, the new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio. Maybe an old school D coordinator like him gets in here and maybe it lights a fire in this kid and he goes, hey, you know what? Shit, maybe football's not that easy. I better get here. You know what I mean? Like I better come in and I better really bust it this offseason.
But wasn't it Vic Fangio's way of coaching? Young players didn't like it. So hopefully
that's a worry, but you know what? Though?
Hopefully he says, you know what, like you said, Joey, I gotta grab it, I gotta take it and seize it, grab it by the horns.
Yeah. Maurice Wright says Jordan Davis has his hands full this season. Do you think the Eagles will require him to be a 3-down guy or in a rotation with Williams or Ajobo? Well, Ajobo and Williams are more ends in a 34. I I think the guy that would rotate with Davis would be the how the hell do you say his name? Number 95, Tuasusupu. How the hell you say his name? The guy that begins with a T. The kid that
The Samoan. The Samoan.
Yeah, the Samoan kid. Because
There
he's
you go.
kind of like a nose. He's kind of like the backup nose tackle, the Samoan kid.
Yeah.
I can't.
He's
say
a big boy.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, like me and Maurice go back, I think we have a lot of defensive tackles on the practice squad. But so
Here's hoping Steve Greenjack's right. He says Carter is the next dog on the defense. Mark my words, kid has grit and aggression. These Georgia kids are going to flourish soon.
absolutely,
I agree.
I think so.
I like his motor, man. You know, he gets the right technique down, right coaching. Sky's the limit. He's
Also got to remember with Jalen Carter, dude. He started off the season so hot. You got to think he probably wasn't on most of these teams' radars. I know he was on the radar, but like putting extra attention into stopping him for the week in your game plan probably didn't start till about 10 weeks in. You know,
Yeah.
so you start getting all these different looks 10 weeks in because teams are actually going, all right, this guy's a game changer. Jalen Carter has to adjust and grow a little bit and learn how to beat them different looks that are getting thrown at him and shit like that.
Yeah. Maurice Wright says the Samoan kid from USC played pretty decent last season when given the opportunity. This is a good point. Steve Greenjack said Fangio had a hand in Christian Wilkins turning into a top D tackle. Let's hope for the same. Agreed.
Damn right.
Christian Wilkins got paid by the Raiders, didn't he?
Yeah, tell you what, I'll tell you, if you're a Raiders fan, I mean, boy, the Raiders probably have a top 5 defense talent wise. Unfortunately, they just don't have a quarterback
or a running back. Now they lost their workhorse too. Can't even handle ball Jacobs 25 times a game and just have him go off.
Zamir White's the starter, and they just signed Matthiasen from the Vikings.
Trash.
Yeah. Well,
I
think they drafted quarterback Penix Jr.
I
could see that.
That might not be a bad play for them. The Raiders get somebody. They got they have a top relatively early pick, and then maybe a guy like Penix they either take in the second round or maybe they trade back up into the first round to take him. You know what I mean? Give up a couple picks later.
Right.
I agree with this. I like Ringo too. Steve Greenjack says I got big hope for Ringo too. The size and speed is elite. Just needed some work with the hips and feet, but looked decent in limited playing time last year. Tell you the thing.
Ringo can play.
Yeah, you know what I liked about him? He wasn't afraid out there. He played. You know what I mean? Like he was right on, but he wasn't afraid to get beat. He was very aggressive. I like that.
I agree. Yeah, I liked what I seen from Ringo last year.
He took on that opportunity. Yeah, well,
but hey, we'll get into some more Eagles in the next coming weeks, obviously. And we were talking about aggression, and sometimes when you're aggressive, it could lead to injuries. Anybody out there, you know what I mean? If you if you fall, if you get yourself hurt on the job and you need to get some paper, make sure you call my man Jason Fine, aka Attorney Big Al. Motor vehicle accident, slip and fall, workers' compensation, or like I just said, personal injury claims. NFL pro players, hey, they don't have to worry about calling Jason Fine, but guys like us would. You know what I'm saying? Anybody out there that's a coffee drinker, you want to drink some good coffee? These guys got the best coffee out there. Monkey's Cold Coffee. They got the newest flavor, honey agave. You could use the promo code OOTBS Sports at monkeycoldcoffee.com. So make sure you check that out and, give those guys a follow. But anyway, all right. So before we get out of here, we got a big event come. I was going to get into some Phillies, but we'll get more into them next week. With them starting with them, because they start on the 28th. So we'll get more into the Phillies next week. But real quick, we got the tournament coming up. Anybody out there following this tour? Sean, you have any thoughts on this NCAA tournament at all?
Yeah, I think UConn is going to do something. I'd like to see North Carolina go far, but they haven't played so well last week. So your thoughts?
I haven't really followed it at all. All I know is UConn's pretty good. Houston's pretty good.
Purdue's
good. I mean, I think that kid Zach Eddy's just not. I think he's just a big dude.
Yeah.
If you could somehow get a couple bodies on him, you could take him out the game. And these bigger programs have other athletic guys that I don't see Purdue going far for that reason.
Yeah. So I think I like Houston to win it all. They're my team. I mean, it's not exactly a sleeper. They're a number one seed. But I think I like Houston to win it all. Maurice Wright says Illinois is pretty hot as of late, so maybe they could be a sleeper team.
Anybody got any brackets out there? You do?
One, Sean?
I'm on CBS.
I got you.
Okay, yeah.
CBS and Yahoo.
Gotcha.
Hang on, I got one more Eagles comment here, real quick. Here, Steve Greenjack says people forget we have Steen at right guard too. I'm not sure what the deal is with him, but they seem to like him, and the kid is huge, 6'6", 320. He said second round pick, but he was third round pick. I think he might be in the plans. Could use the size next to Jurgens. I think
definitely, I agree.
Yeah, I think they like Steen.
He could compete for that spot going in the training camp. Why not?
True.
Yeah, he probably will. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, I guess my son don't like him. He said, he's like, yeah, you don't like Tyler Steen, do you?
No, I do. But I have a question. Why do you have so many sponsors?
I don't know, buddy. There's a couple. Hang on 1 second, all right? Let's see here. Here we go. Maurice Wright says, get one of those South Dakota State guards. That's for what? Offensive guards for football?
Yeah. You got Greenfield and I forget the other dude's name, but they're pretty solid. They fit the mold of Stoutland U.
Nice.
So
cool. So
nice.
All right. Well, I guess that's enough tournament. I didn't know if anybody out there had a bracket. I was curious to see. Maurice, do you have a bracket? I know the tournament was this week. I mean, admittedly, I usually follow college a little bit more closely. I haven't really followed it as much this year, but the fact
here, but
the fact the tournament start, like I will say that this Thursday and this Friday are like two of the best days of the year, though. I'm not doing it this year. I had to take last Friday off, but some years I'll make it a point to like take that Friday off and just like maybe go out and watch the games all day.
Right.
It is cool, like having basketball from like noon until like midnight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what's ironic too? You know how like as big as the Super Bowl is in Vegas, NCAA tournament's actually bigger. They make that's like the biggest week of the tournament. First week is like the biggest week of the year out in Vegas.
You got all those degenerates playing from 12:30 games to the midnight games.
Yeah, well,
back to back.
Well, think about it, Sean. Out there, it's 9:30 in the morning, so you're literally eating breakfast, betting games.
Yeah.
That's what was so cool about. Like, I was fortunate enough to be in Vegas like 2 Super Bowls in a row. I was out there for the one of our vendors. We won like a HP competition or whatever. I forget. It wasn't a competition, but we like sold enough HP. So I got to go out. And I was out there for the Seattle Patriots Super Bowl, and then I was out there for the Denver Carolina Super Bowl. And it was so weird, bro, because like the Super Bowl was starting at like 3:30 in the afternoon. Like it was, you know what I mean? Like
you're so used to everybody's coming over 6:30 before 6:30.
Yeah, when I went to Vegas, we got a cabana by the pool, and the Eagles came on 10 o'clock in the morning.
See, I would think if you're a sports fan, that would be like, dude, that would be like utopia as a sports fan. Well, I mean, unless you're banged up. Well, you know what? If you're banged up the night before, that might be a little rough. But just say you're up. Say you get up at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, eat some breakfast. next thing you know, you're like chilling. It's like 10 o'clock. You're like, oh, bet the Eagles are on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it'd be pretty cool. You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty much.
You know what? One more thing I wanted to do too before we got out of here. The Sixers got a big game with Miami tonight. They're tied. Right now, I'm looking at these standings. In the 8 seed, 37-30, tied with the Heat. But I guess the Heat must have some tiebreaker or whatever. But that's a big game tonight. I'll tell you what. This team's like one of the worst teams in the league without Embiid. I mean, with somehow
it's like a freight train, dude.
Yeah, they're barely even worth talking about without Embiid. But let me go over these next like 7 games and let me know how many wins you see. You ready? Miami tonight.
It's not even worth it, Joe. They're all losses.
Do you think they could win tonight?
No.
Yeah. I was looking at the schedule, bro. They're going to be lucky to get to 41 wins, and unless it goes back with like the last 2 weeks. So it's trash. And the other thing that's a little tough is the Flyers. You know, the Flyers are only up. They got 76 points. They're 3 points up on Washington and the Islanders. And the Flyers next week is tough. They got Toronto tomorrow night home. At Carolina, I think they can possibly win tomorrow night. But, yeah, that's a tough one.
Loss.
All right, at Carolina's probably a loss, and then they host Boston, and then they host Florida. So the Flyers could be looking at an 0-4 week too.
Shit, that's what it sounds like, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the Flyers 2 points. Hang on, let me get one more.
I'm gonna give them 3.
All right. Steve Greenjack says they have nothing besides Maxey and Oubre, literally nothing. Tobias scored 2 points in 26 minutes the other night, and because of that, the other role players just can't play their roles and be sufficient. They're being asked to do too much. It should all come together with Embiid, though. That I agree with. Like, if by some miracle Embiid could come back and be in shape enough, I think the Sixers could beat anybody. But unfortunately, without him, they're trash. You know?
True.
So, but
yeah, I agree.
It's sad, isn't it? Because like, you know, the way he was playing, it was like it was literally like one of the best seasons I've ever seen a guy have, and then just to have it come crashing down, it's just so sad.
It's like a roller coaster. It went up and then it derailed real quick.
Yeah.
Same season, different season, same story.
Yep, it's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Well, listen, let's get ready to wrap up here. Have a great week, everybody. Go Sixers, go Flyers. But Christ, I mean, I'm praying for like one win by either team. You know.
Yeah.
And good luck to everybody out. Good luck to anybody out there playing a tournament. Playing tournament brackets. I'll be picking. You know what's funny? I'll probably do better than I've ever done. I'll be picking team names and throwing darts. I'll probably do better than I've ever have, dude.
I got one for you. Little man pick your bracket.
I will. Diego, do you remember when we did the work pool? I think Joey actually won. Remember?
Yeah, I think he did. I think I do remember that.
Yeah, my son won one week.
My daughter won. Beat a guy in work. He's like, dude, I lost to a 10-year-old. Hey,
that's awesome.
I might do it again this year. So yeah.
Hey, didn't they have a show? Don't they have a show, or did they have a show? Are you smarter than a 5th grader or a 4th grader or something like that?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, it's like, yo, my 10-year-old's got more sports knowledge than you. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, look, everybody have a great week. You know what? Let's hope for the best. Maybe our winter sports teams will get a couple wins. Next week we'll do a lot more Phillies talk. We'll ramp up we'll get ready for the season, and hopefully the Eagles maybe make another signing or two in the next week. And
yeah, man.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Good luck on everybody's pools or brackets, and see you next week. Have a good one.
Later.
All right, guys. Have a good week.